What's good, my lovely peoples? It's your humble servant Silas here. I want to do this video continuing on my slave history teachings. Now, we need to start looking at things from the correct perspective, and at some point, I'm going to need the elders to start truly taking heed to the things I'm saying. You have others saying that we are the natives of this land, but I don't think they have true understanding. I do, and we need to truly understand the power of the native black people of this land. Those are our ancestors, and they fought to the death to keep the land. And we have been tricked out of believing that we need to abandon the land. This is why white people always said, go back to Africa. White people know what black people they brought over here. They knew when they got here, the people here were black. So to say go back to Africa don't make no sense. But once people begin to mix and mingle, then you can get away with saying stupid shit like that and confusing people. Now, we need to start asking ourselves questions like this. You have the Jackie Wright versus Hutchins case. Now, Hutchins case. Now, Jackie Wright was a slave. Now, you got to ask yourself this question. If slavery was the way that you all think, then how is it that a slave who has no freedom, doesn't even have the freedom to pick their own name? Kunta Kinte. Chant had to be Toby. So a slave doesn't even have the rights to make their own name. Yet we have documented proof of slaves suing their slave owners. Y'all have to start to begin to understand when I speak of slavery, y'all have it wrong. Y'all have slavery completely wrong. Slavery is the same thing you see now. The same thing. People were slaves by choice. It was a work thing. When people were being hung and all of this was just because the African slaves that were brought here seen how the black natives that were here lived and how they were not going to be enslaved. So some of them started getting uppity and cute, and then slave master had to put foot down like, hold on, you can't do that. So that's where that came from. But in all reality, we must understand slavery is not how y'all think. It was just a system, the same system we have now. Now, we must understand, if a slave is truly a slave, then how can a slave sue? And win and get their freedom. And it is the same as now. A citizen can sue the government and win. Still a goddamn slave though. It don't mean nothing. But Jackie Wright sued and got her freedom because she proved that she was a native black of the land as opposed to a black African that was brought here as a slave. And this is how she got her freedom. That's why it's important that we begin to understand that we are not the Africans. We are the native blacks of the land. They were two different people. Now, I know a lot of people say no, the Africans migrated from Africa all around the world. This is a lie. This is to say that Africa was the first land and then all other lands came from Africa. Mind you, land is not people. People predate people. I came after my mother, from my mother. Land does not work that way. All the land was together and is together. It is separated by water, meaning land is not even. Land goes like that and boom. So if it's water on the land, it is only because it is a hill or different feet in level in that part of the land. This is why the continents sit like that, where it looks like they're in middle of water. So no land predated any land. America was always here just as long as Africa was here, just as all the other lands was here. Now, when we speak of Africans, we tend to speak of probably back to about 4000 BC. We speak of those times. Now, if you go to 4000 BC, there were black people in America. So we must grasp that. No matter how far you go back in African history, there was a history in America and everywhere else on this earth. So now, if you go to 10,000 BC in Africa, before Akhenaten and all the pharaohs, if you go to Africa before pharaohs and all that, there were black people on America then too. So we have to get out of this, oh, people came and migrated. There were people on every continent from always. Things didn't start in Africa. We have to get this out of our mind. Things didn't start in no one particular place. There were people in all places. We are the descendants of the Native American black people of this land who have their history that date all the way back just as far as Africa. Now, if you go back far enough, I'm sure they have the same common ancestor. But that's far, far, far back. So yes, they are related people, but that is not the same people. Me and my cousin are not the same. We don't have the same parents or the same grandparents. We only share the same great grandparents, making us related, but we are not the same.